What's up, guys? In this video, I want to talk about 5 different debt pay down strategies that you can use, and not all of them are actually good, and I wouldn't recommend 3 of them, but we're going to go through 5 from my least favorite to my favorite. And just to add some extra context, my name is Chris. I've been an accountant for 10 years. My wife and I paid down $43,000 worth of debt using one of these strategies, which, spoiler alert, it's my most favorite one. So yeah, I've got some experience paying down my own debt. I help people find a strategy for them to pay down their debt and build wealth a little faster. So let's just dive right into it. So my least favorite way to pay down debt is actually not having a strategy. And you'd be surprised how many people are using this strategy of not having a strategy. And here's why it's so important. I talk to so many people about their personal finances, and a lot of things that I find in common are people are just kind of winging it, and they're just throwing stuff against the wall. They're seeing whatever sticks. They're maybe paying the minimum, they're maybe not. They're maybe paying what they can, they're maybe not. And they don't really have like a clear strategy. It's more just, hey, can I pay some towards my debt this month or no? And they don't really have a plan going forward. They don't know the impact that not paying down their debt faster is having on them, because interest is such a killer. And what I like to preach is that when you are in debt, you're paying someone else's wealth, because interest is so powerful that you want to be building your own, right? And you don't want to be paying someone else interest. That's how other people get wealthy. So you want to stop doing that. You want to stop paying interest to other people, and you want to build your own interest, okay? And through investing, but that's not really what this video is about. So yeah, the worst strategy is not having a strategy. So get a strategy. Ideally, one of my last 2 are going to be the strategy that you pick. But that's up for you to decide. My 4th favorite strategy for paying down debt isn't really that great of an option either. And honestly, I think it's a little bit scammy, and that's a balance transfer. So let's get into what that is. I'm sure if you have any sort of credit cards or any other loans, you've gotten emails from the companies that you have those loans with, and they offer you this like amazing deal. Maybe it's like a 0% interest for 12 months to move your debt from this account to this account. And oh wow, this is going to be incredible. And oh, by the way, we're going to take maybe like a 4% fee, and then after the period's over, you're just going to go back up to your high percentage again. I think this is just a little predatory, in my opinion. And it's definitely not going to be the best option for you, because here's what's going to happen. You see the great offer of a 0% interest for a 12-month period, but if you don't have a plan to pay it down in time, like the company's still going to take a fee from you, and you're still going to owe interest at the end of it. It's going to go back up to, say if you have a credit card interest rate of like 18%, you'll go down to the 0% for a little bit, but then you're going right back up to the 18%. So unless you have like a really hardcore plan of how you're going to pay it off in that period, I just would completely avoid this. It's just another way for these companies to make money, okay? The 3rd favorite strategy is a little more reasonable when it comes to paying down your debt, and this is a debt consolidation. Now, I wouldn't recommend this for everyone. A debt consolidation is basically when you lump multiple loans, so sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6, however many loans, into one consolidated debt loan, right? So this could work if you have 3 credit cards, you have a student loan, you have a personal loan, you have a car loan, and it's just all over the place, and you just want to be able to like organize it into one. And the reason why I say it's not really ideal for everyone is because unless your average interest rate is really high, so if a lot of your debt is from credit cards, a lot of your interest rate is probably going to be very high. If you can go from, say, 18%, 20%, 22% interest, something like that, that's like really high, and you're able to consolidate it to 10, 12, 15%, maybe that's worth it. But at the end of the day, you're just kind of moving debt from one place to another, and it's not really solving an issue. It might make more financial sense if the percentage of difference you're able to get is pretty significant, like I mentioned earlier. But at the end of the day, like, it's not really a solution. You still need a solution to pay down the debt consolidation, right? Like, you can move it over as many times as you want, but if you don't have a solution of how you're going to pay it down faster, then that's kind of where the problem is. All right, so we've made it to my favorite top 2 strategies when it comes to paying down your debt, and I'm going to sort of talk about them at the same time, because they're very similar, they're a little different, but I think both could work for you in the right situation. So the first one I want to talk about is the debt avalanche method, and that's basically when you pay off your debt in order of highest interest rate first, all the way down to lowest interest rate. So the pro of this one is that this is likely going to be the most cost efficient way for you, because interest is the killer with debt. So if you're able to pay down the highest interest rate first, and knock that off, then you're going to be able to pay down your debt a little faster. The other one is called the debt snowball method, and with this one, you're actually going to order paying down your debt in terms of the lowest total to the largest total. So you'll be paying off your smallest loans first and your largest loans last. And the benefit to this one is that you can really crank out some of your loans, like get rid of them pretty quickly, and you'll get that really nice mental boost because you're like, oh wow, it's working. So the difference between the two, and just to be clear, like if you came to me and you said, hey Chris, I have this amount of debt, like how would you recommend I should pay it off? Without knowing too much about your situation, I would almost automatically just recommend the debt snowball method. It's what me and my wife used, and I can get into that in a little bit, but like I would just recommend that because it's just so helpful. So let's use an example here where one, you use a debt avalanche method versus the debt snowball. Sometimes with the debt avalanche method, the first debt won't be paid off for over a year, maybe 2 years, depending on how big of the loan the highest interest rate is. So that's kind of the variable here. It's, yeah, with the debt avalanche method, you're paying down the highest interest rate first, but let's say that's a credit card and you have $25,000 on it. You have to wait to pay off $25,000 all at once. Like that's like insane. And you don't get much like you don't get a positive feedback loop by waiting like 2 years to pay off a debt. It's like, oh my God, it's just like lingering and it just takes forever. Whereas like if you had the $25,000 and you had maybe a smaller one, like a 2K credit card or something like that, and you're using the debt snowball method, paying the 2K one off first would be so much easier. You'd be paying that off in like months, right? And then you're like, oh wow, this is actually working. Like I've literally just eliminated one of my debts. Like that's incredible. So the differences between the two, the debt avalanche is definitely going to be more cost efficient, and the debt snowball method is going to have that nicer mental boost for you. And just to be clear, the debt avalanche method, depending on the size of how many loans you have, probably saves you a few $100s over the long term because of the interest. So we're talking a few $100, maybe $1,000. So like, it's not going to be life-changing money, but it is going to most likely be the most efficient for you. And when my wife and I were paying down $43,000 of debt in a year, we sort of stumbled upon the debt snowball method. And at the time, this was 5-6 years ago, we didn't really know what the debt snowball method was, to be very honest with you. It just sort of made the most sense to us, like, because we had 12 different loans that totaled the $43,000, and not most of them, 4 or 5 of them were under like $1,200. So we're like, wow, we can knock off 5 of these like pretty quickly if we were just very aggressive and we can really work towards it. And that's what happened. We paid off 5 of them within 2 or 3 months, and then the money that we were using towards those debts, we kept rolling to the next largest, and eventually it just like snowballed into this huge thing where we were able to pay down $43,000 of debt in just about a year. So that's the power of paying down debt, and that's the power of knowing a strategy. So hopefully the takeaway from this video is just get a strategy, please. Like, don't be wish-washy and, you know, pay down debt when you can or when you want to, or not really knowing what you're doing. Just please get a plan first. Like, even if it's a crappy plan, like one of the first ones that I mentioned, just have a plan to pay it down. Understand that you can reverse engineer it. So I have a debt payment calculator that you can use down in the description of this video. So make sure you download that. It's completely free, by the way, and use that, and you can sort of plug in your own numbers, check in your debt-free date, and then play around with which one's better for me, the debt snowball or the debt avalanche method. And guys, I'll be uploading videos daily similar to this, so things about financial mindset, maybe some strategy like this video was today. So if you like these videos, make sure you subscribe. Again, I'm uploading every single day, so I'm here for you guys. I'll see you next time.